You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to bring the regular meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners for Tuesday, November 12th, 2024, to order. First item is approval of minutes for October 15th, 2024. May I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Report of the chief.
All right, good evening, everyone. Really, in the monthly statistical report, nothing jumps out that really needs to be discussed more in depth than other than what's here. Just kind of got to give you our personnel overview that's also included in here. We have one recruit, Officer Matthew Sywick. He's graduating this Friday from the New Britain Police Academy. He will start his very long field training program. So good news for him, he's coming out. We have the two other officers that are still in the Meriden Academy. They have another couple of months left before we will see them, and then they'll embark on that journey of the field training also. We have one current vacancy now. The deputy has reported that we did post it on police app. The numbers are, again, not as high we would like to see. With that said, one of the other important points to bring forward tonight is our union contract. And I'll segue into the contract because we are hoping to maybe advertise this vacancy as a certified vacancy, where we can try to maybe recruit a certified officer in light of our new contract. So the contract was heard last night by the Public Services Committee, the RTM. It'll go to the full RTM body tomorrow. Just to kind of give you an overview of some of the highlights. There were some updated language changes that needed to be made just to clean up some language. Nothing worth mentioning other than, changing some stuff that was outdated. But one of the things in the contract that I think myself and the deputy looked at, and the union obviously worked with us on, was limiting some of their comp time. So the compensatory time off, like it kind of grows a cycle where they would work overtime, get the comp time, cause more vacancies. And it was a vicious cycle. We did the average usage numbers throughout the entire department, and then we came up with a cap that was well within reason of that. Obviously, you're going to have outliers and people that don't even use it at all. But we struck a balance there, and I think it's going to be beneficial to our operation moving forward. Secondly, there was an increase in vacation time. Not significant, but a few more days and a less duration to get to those days. But more importantly, one of the things that we pushed for, which we were able to get, is lateral hires would get 0 vacation days when they came there. So that's kind of a tough sell. Now with the new language, they'll get 12 days immediately when they come through the door. Another strategy to try to recruit people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Along with this, the numbers and how we came up with what they would get, we looked at all the other contracts, a lot of our neighboring departments, and kind of used that as our guide. What you were seeing, and I mentioned this last night in the public services meeting, market. The police market, if you're competitive and you're offering a good wage package, good benefits, you're going to get the lateral officers. There's a smaller pool, but you have to be very competitive. In total, I think this contract is going to get us into the mid to upper pack. We're not going to be lower before. So along with that, the biggest change is the schedule. So currently, we're on a 5-2 schedule, 5 days on, 2 days off, and the officers bid their days off. So if you're a new, younger officer with no seniority, you could have a Tuesday, Wednesday off all year. If you're a senior officer and you've been here forever and you have the seniority, you might be able to get a Saturday, Sunday, a Friday, Saturday, whereas most police departments are on a rotating schedule. It's more fair, it helps evenly distribute the personnel, so we'll be going to a 5-2, 5-3. So they'll work 5 days, get 2 days off, they'll work 5 days, and they have 3 days off, and it moves in the 14-week period. You look at it in the calendar, it's more days off a year, but in reality, when you really look at it, it's a cycle and it continues, and you work your weekends and then you rotate off your weekends. So, you know, essentially 3/4 of the department voted for it, and I think it's gonna put us on par. As we did this, some other departments even raised it up farther, and they're going to a 5-3 schedule. Problem with the 5-3 for an agency our size, it gets a little difficult. So we're right on par with that scheduling with this new contract. The rates of pay, this was something that was worked on with the Margaret Roberta, our HR director, and the first selectman, and myself, and Jim Finch, and the deputy. So we had 2 years we were out of contract, so the first retro year would be 2.5%, second retro year was 2.5%. The town will give them the retro pay from there. Now, this was something that we really wanted. This year, there'll be a 5.25% raise, and I know that sounds like, wow, that's a big raise, but it's more of a 2.75 retention adjustment to try to keep people on top with a 2.5 normal raise that you would get. So there's that big bump there that year.
It's good.
And that still doesn't put us in the top tier of other departments, but it puts us in striking distance, which is important. Then we go into 2025, 2.75%, and then in 2026, 2.75%. And the town was very generous with the medical contribution. They did not, there's like a 1% jump in that, which was good. And the duration of this, the 2 years that we were out plus 3, it's a 5-year agreement with an expiration of June of 27. So all in all, I think it was well received based on the vote. And we're hoping that this is gonna, again, the market, we need to recruit, need to attract, but once you have the employees, you need to keep them. And the only way you're gonna keep them is be competitive, even if you have a good town, a good environment. Still, some communities that have chosen to up their game per se are attracting that very small group of certified officers. All of you have been on the commission long enough to know that you hear me say it all the time about losing the economy, well, they're no good for us a year. So every vacancy, we're looking at a year if it's not a certified officer. Layer that with the fact that we don't want to lower our standards, nor will we lower our standards. Now that takes our pools on both sides, certified and recruit, and shrinks it. So we're very happy with this. You know, I thank the union body and the membership. The deputy put a lot of work into this along with Margaret, and it was a long process, but sometimes that's just the way it is.
That's good.
So good news with that.
Good news.
What else do I have for you? Contract, you will see our officers growing some facial hair this month. You may have seen some of them at the parade the other day. It's not within our uniform standard policy, but because of No Shave November, they have to pay, and the money goes to the Cancer Society, so they can grow all the beards they want in November. And then in December, they inevitably walk up to the chief's office and ask if they can keep them.
Get told no?
But I don't even think Santa's gonna bring that, no. Also, November 16th, it's a Saturday, 9 to 1 at the Big Y. This is something that Branford PD came up with years ago. It's called Give the Cop the Bird. Bring a turkey, you can purchase them there on site, and that'll benefit the community dining room and pantry here in town. Other than that, we have had a few motorcycle accidents. We had one back on the 26th, October 26th on East Main and Mill Plain. That's currently being investigated by the South Central Regional Traffic Team. Along with that, some of the state numbers are up, like I believe it was 27%. Yeah, motorcycles are up 27% year to date, so.
I'm sorry, Chief, did you say that was a mortality, that accident?
It's being investigated.
No, that one wasn't.
It wasn't, okay.
That I'm aware of. So, you know, just, we're going into the cold season, but we have had two within kind of a back-to-back period.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them were serious, that one of them was a fatality. So that just came up as far as the number that was released from the state is representative of kind of what we're seeing. Other than that, we're in pretty good shape. Nothing else to report tonight.
I have a quick question. On the mental health calls, I mean, we've had a 50% increase from the previous month. Now, does that number still go up for the holidays? And Danielle, I mean, it keeps her fairly busy.
Unfortunately, we do see the holiday season, as joyous it is, we do see spikes in the domestic violence and in the mental health calls during that period of time. She's still doing great work.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of that, obviously, we can't share in a public forum, but there's not a week that doesn't go by that she's making, you know, a very big impact in someone's life. A couple of victims that we've had, she's been working with them at the time of the incident and then after, and some follow-up. We've had some, we did have one case, an unfortunate case, a fellow in need came into the lobby and proceeded to cut himself, and the officers were able to, you know, pretty much negotiate as long as they could, and then he ended up hurting himself very badly. They applied a tourniquet with the medics, very well done, the way they handled that difficult situation. So that person, we do have her interacting with the hospital, trying to find a treatment plan, because we've had other incidents with that person, but this one just escalated a lot farther. So that's kind of the back end work that happens every week. It does make a big difference. So we'll keep our fingers crossed, but unfortunately, I think you'll see it.
Yeah, she's doing a great job.
Building update.
Building update.
Yep, I have a short building project update for you. Our bid openings occurred both on October 31st and November 7th for the bid sets, the bid packages. So all bids are in for the project. Currently, we're performing scope reviews with all the bidders. That's where our construction manager goes over the bids, discusses expectations for the project, and determines that the contractor is able to provide the work that they bid for within the project. So following the scope reviews, Downs, our construction manager, will be providing a guaranteed maximum price, and that will be presented to the PBC at their November 25th meeting. So pending PBC approval and necessary permits, notice to proceed can then be issued and a schedule developed for the project. So we're getting very close. I don't have an update at this time for an actual date yet as to when the project will kick off, but it's definitely close. Internally, our supervisors, we've been meeting on a weekly basis just to assign different aspects of the project to officers within the agency and to prepare for our move to the fire department.
Thank you, Chief. All right, we'll move on to traffic requests. Patty?
Okay. The first item was a request for traffic enforcement on Commercial Parkway and Montoya Circle. And the committee, Traffic Committee has recommended to the commission that we put them on the rotation, the traffic enforcement rotation. Second item is an update on handicap parking issues. We met with the engineering department, who has come up with 3 possible places to add handicap spaces. One is behind Pasta Cozy, one is the new Dar Bar restaurant, and the third is moving the 2 spots behind the old Board of Ed building up to the front, so they're closer to the curb. In addition, the engineering department has agreed to really look at increasing the number of handicap spaces as we get into the project of the center of town renovation. Next one is the line of sight issues on Eastwood and Leeds Island. The committee is recommending that engineering take a look at this and correspond with the owner about cutting back a tree that's on their property. Next one is the request to move speed sign on Indian Neck Avenue to the area at Block Island Road or Elks Lodge. We had worked with the DOT to determine the location and placement for this sign. So the committee there's no movement. We're not requesting anything be changed. Update on the line of sight issues at the entrance to the Ponds condominium. I met with the engineering department on this one, and they came up with a list of recommendations. The traffic committee is recommending that engineering take it from here and send the letter out to the homeowner whose property contains the shrubs and trees that are blocking the line of sight. Next one is a request for a stop sign at Damascus and Totucket. There's no action taken on that. And then we did have a motion to add to the agenda, and it was for Pine Orchard. Excuse me. They were talking about a digital speed monitor, which has been approved, and Captain Watrous has found a location for it to be installed when it's available. The rest of the requests for Pine Orchard, Lieutenant Ramey will follow up on these items. Probably one of them is cutting back the overgrown shrubs entering Pine Orchard from Spring Rock. Another one is the speed sign north of Birch that was just mentioned, and traffic enforcement. So the traffic committee is recommending that Lieutenant Ramey follow up on these with the town. I guess it would be Public Works. Yeah. Okay. And then under citizen comments, we had representation from Stony Creek, again talking about the need and request for help to contain speeding. There really was no definitive answer to this other than we will look into ways that we can help them with either hiring their private enforcement or writing tickets, but that doesn't prove effective. So there really isn't much to say on this. It wasn't really part of the agenda. They did say that the sign under the bridge, the no parking sign, is too far past the bridge, so we can request that that sign be moved up. And that is it.
Thank you, Patty. Okay, report of the chair. Great job by the town on the Veterans Day Parade and everyone involved. And we do not have a meeting next month, so everyone enjoy the holidays. We will adjourn again in January. We have citizens' comments. You want to give your name and you're up.
My name is Ken Engelman. I live at 12 Midwood Road in Short Beach in Branford, and I appreciate being invited into this meeting. I want to give you an update on what I've been doing with my nonprofit. But first, I'd like to say that those that know me and my wife, we support the police, we applaud the police, and we do whatever we can to assist whenever we can. I have a nonprofit, 501c3, called Community Volunteers United. And the mission is to improve the health and well-being of communities around Connecticut, and then create templates that we could bring to other states and other communities, and they could follow suit. And it's a strategic marketing and media type of campaign. I want to share this with you because the feedback that I've received at a state level has been inspiring and unexpected, but I think it's helpful to share with you guys what we're doing. First is with the Please Be Kind signs, which I'm sure you've all seen somewhere around town. I started with just red, then I had red for Branford, green for Guilford, purple for North Branford, blue for East Haven, and then with the election coming up, I turned them into red, white, and blue. Many people have reached out to me to thank the campaign for helping certain people go through emotional trauma that they're going through, which is unexpected and not something I expected to hear. A lot of people have reached out and said that these signs are beacons of light because of whatever they're going through at the moment that they see these signs. And I've heard about divorces, I've heard about jobs being laid off, I've heard about loss of a loved one, pet, I've learned about cancer diagnosis, just unexpected things being told to me when I'm out planting these signs or when people reach out to me through social media. Currently, we have over 500 signs in 50 towns around Connecticut. Received a governor's proclamation. Last week, the mayor of Hartford invited me up for a photo of him and I holding the sign together. I have digital billboard on 95 and 91, and I continue to promote this reminder, this public service announcement campaign to please be kind, because we're living in unkind times. We all here might be kind, everyone at home might be kind, but there's a lot of meanness happening and there's a lot of selfish defensive reactions happening. And I'm trying to counter that with these campaigns that I'm implementing on my own, and some other very generous members of my nonprofit. With that, there's some things that are happening that are trending in the opposite direction that we're trying to counter. And one has to do with our signs being stolen and some being repurposed from my repurposing them and turning them into Please Be Kind signs. And some have turned them into signs that read fight and disrupt on them, and then replanted in different places around town. That is illegal, correct? I just want to be sure because I'm not a police officer or expert on this. It is illegal to steal signs, deface them, and put them back, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I understand it's not the biggest problem in the world when there's other priorities and other bigger issues. I get that. But I'm doing my best to inspire kindness and community and civility through the campaign. I just want you all to be aware of this because we never had this conversation. My second phase is I created a program in the high school, Branford High School, that's now been introduced to East Haven High School and Guilford High School. And the principals and superintendents support this campaign. And again, I just want you to be aware of what I'm trying to do to help be a part of the solutions. I created a volunteer fair in the high school and back in April in Branford. And we invited all Branford nonprofits to have a representative in the Branford High School library. And we brought down all the high school kids who needed community service hours to graduate. And we matched them together. We asked the students, what are your interests? And then we matched them with the services of the nonprofits. And in Branford, the most popular nonprofits are, of course, the big three: Cosgrove Shelter, Community Dining Room, and the Blackstone Library. Everybody knows them. They have budgets, they have full-time staff, and they can promote themselves and fundraise and be a part of the media. But there's over 25 other nonprofits in Branford that don't have a voice. They don't have budget, they don't have advertising, they don't have staff that can do these things. So I created this program to bring everyone together and to inspire the students who need community service hours to graduate to learn about the different nonprofits in our town that create a healthy and vibrant community, because all these nonprofits serve our neighbors and our environment and our surroundings. But also to inspire compassion and empathy in future adults, business leaders, and elected officials down the line. And this match program has been very well received from educators and from parents, students, and all the different people that we've been working with. So that East Haven called me, and I'm going to be running this program in East Haven in November 18th, and then in Guilford in December. But I plan on taking this further out across the state as a volunteer. I'm doing these things to help be a part of the solution to our societal issues. And of course, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us. There's a lot of things going on. And coincidentally, with all the things that I'm doing and planning for this meeting tonight, which I appreciate you inviting me down to, I heard about something in New Haven 2 days ago that happened here in Branford in Common Grounds on Saturday. I then heard about it from someone in Branford who doesn't know the other person in New Haven. And I'm waiting to get the picture and the video of this event happening. I was not there myself, but I heard it from two different sources in two totally different places. Two men walked into Common Grounds in Branford and did a Heil Hitler salute in Common Grounds and laughed about it. And I'm waiting to get the picture and the video to show you guys. I was told that it was reported. I don't know if it was reported, but I was told it was reported. And I also want to add that in Short Beach, there have been swastikas painted on sidewalks. This is just bizarre. This is insanely out of control. So, as I've been doing this since January of 2024, I'm going to continue doing it, and I'm looking for new ways to do it, promote kindness, of course. But I'd like to know, and I'd like to learn, what is happening to try and address these issues. That I'm doing what I can as a volunteer through my nonprofit, but I'd like to learn what is the town doing to address this new trend that's really continually going in an opposite direction of community and kindness and civility. So I just want to give you an update of what I'm doing and then ask that question.
Well, the Short Beach swastikas is the first time hearing of that. I'd have to look. I can tell you last year we had one reported hate bias crime that was reported, and that had to do with a white supremacy group that was posting on one of the bridges in town, and they had done it throughout the Northeast, from Maine down to Connecticut. That was our one reportable event that I believe that was contained in this last fiscal year, or calendar year. We did have another incident in which an alleged racial slur was used, but upon further investigation, that was not proven the case. So I'm not aware of, and the deputy can correct me if he knows more, but we do report those incidents, we do track those incidents, we do multiple things when those are brought to our attention, and that one's not raising.
No, I certainly don't know of any trend that we've been experiencing locally, and certainly when those crimes do occur, we investigate them to the best of our ability, and we would make an arrest where appropriate. But, you know, we applaud you for your efforts. I'm glad you came in and explained the signs too, because I have seen them pop up around town. I wasn't sure exactly, you know, where they were coming from or the meaning behind all of them, so thank you for your time with that today.
Thank you.
And just as far as the signs, if they are near the highway exit, on-ramps, or state property, DOT will remove them. So don't,
Right.
they're, by law, they have the ability to do that, same with town property. Non-consensual placement on people's property, obviously they can be removed. So, you know, if you put them somewhere and it disappears, it may not necessarily be theft. They may have a right to remove them. Specifically on the state properties, it's prohibited.
Right, which I understand.
Right.
But if somebody gives me $10 for a sign because they're free, I don't charge anybody, I just do it because I think it's the right thing to do. But if somebody says, here's $10, can I put one on my lawn? Sure. And then if it disappears, they call me and say it disappeared, or then they tell me that it's been spray painted with Fight and Disrupt on it. I then pick it up, give them a new sign, take that one home, respray paint it. But how do we address the crime that's being committed of someone stealing it and defacing it if it is legal? Or it's just not a priority, which I understand. They're only signs compared to other things you guys are dealing with, overdoses.
All right.
and things
Janice,
like
go
that.
ahead.
I don't think that they're only signs. Let me just be clear. I think they have a strong message. I have a neighbor on Limewood that had one stolen this week, and you replaced it. My question is, are these signs exactly where people are asking them to be put, or are you taking it upon yourself to put them where you think they would be visible?
That's a great question. I put them where people ask me to put them first. I always ask permission when I can first. There's a few intersections over the last 10 months or 11 months that I've been like, that's a great intersection. Let me see if I can put a sign, and I'll find somebody to ask. If I don't, I have placed signs on my own in strategic places and hope for the best.
See, from my perspective, I think that's where your difficulty is. I think you need permission to put signs that mean something to you and perhaps to the person that wants those signs to be there, like my neighbor.
You're saying your neighbor did not want this?
No, she
No, she
did.
didn't.
Oh, okay.
And she asked for it to
Oh, okay.
be replaced because she thought it was an important message. I just believe that when signs are indiscriminately put in places where maybe other people don't want them to be,
Oh, I understand that.
there certainly is an opportunity to have them defaced and to have them stolen.
The ones I'm talking about being stolen and defaced were on individual people's own properties.
And we'll take that complaint as well. If
Right.
someone had
Yeah.
that complaint, they could call us, we'll investigate it. A lot of people have ring cams.
Right.
You know, if you have information
Yeah.
regarding who's defacing these things, that, you know, our officers will investigate that.
Okay.
Yes.
So I had one Ring camera video forwarded to me, which is how I learned of the one person that I know was doing this. And I shared it with an officer, and I don't know whatever happened. I'm not gonna call the officer out in this meeting, but
Well,
I was
after the
just-
meeting, I'll take a look at the report
Yeah.
for you and give you the
Okay.
update. We'll see where it's at.
I was curious to know what had happened. Did the person get talked to? I don't expect them to go to jail or anything, but just, that's not right, don't do that. Okay,
Thank you, Ken.
sure.
Nice
Yes,
work.
thank you.
Nice
Yes, you
work.
did, thanks.
Okay,
Nice work.
thank you. Regarding the bigger issue with what just happened in Common Ground, you don't have a report of that being reported? Because coming down here, I was told that they put
I
in a
didn't
report on
read it
Saturday.
today. It could be, I have to double check that. I didn't read it as of today, but that's just, it could have been my review that,
Okay.
where I didn't see it. So
Okay.
I'll have to double check for you on that.
And you don't see a trend happening unless there may be things happening that people are not reporting, which you would not know
Possible.
about then?
If we don't observe it or it's not reported, then how would we,
Fair enough.
you know,
Right.
like the deputy said, we encourage people to come forward. You know, the more information, the better. We look into it and we treat it very seriously. There's a whole process in which we will engage if that is the complaint, but unfortunately, like the deputy said, I didn't read the activity this morning, so I didn't have a chance to see it either. I don't know, but some people may often say that they're gonna report something and they don't.
And they don't, right.
The other thing to be cautious of, sometimes people say things and then when we do look into it, it's not what was said. So sometimes, you know, how word travels and the story changes by the time it gets to someone. But again, we can look into it. Every case number is documented, all the information, we can look it up and figure it out.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Ken.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Adjourn at 6:04.
Okay,
Thank
I'll
you
look
again.
at that tomorrow. We'll get back
6:04.
to you.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.